It's over. The empire that fed off chaos, betrayal, and broken champagne glasses has finally collapsed in front of our eyes. Love and Hip Hop, the so-called crown jewel of messy reality television, isn't just on pause, it's allegedly gone. For good, buried under its own scandals, leaks, and explosive behind-the-scenes brawls. And who's at the center of this meltdown? None other than Mona Scott-Young, the self-proclaimed mastermind of reality drama, now accused of turning her back on the very people who built her empire. But how did whispers on social media transform overnight into headlines screaming betrayal? How did one of the most powerful women in unscripted TV go from trendsetter to trending for all the wrong reasons? Fans are furious, insiders are spilling secrets, and even the cast members themselves are dropping cryptic clues that suggest the end isn't just near, it's already here. Imagine cast meetings erupting into chaos, contracts ripped to shreds, and social feeds flooded with shade so thick you can almost feel it through the screen. Is this the death of Love and Hip Hop, or just the beginning of an even darker chapter? Stay tuned, because what I'm about to reveal will make your jaw drop. Let's rewind and actually break this madness down. Because the chaos didn't just appear out of nowhere. Love and Hip Hop has always thrived on scandal. But this time, the scandal wasn't on screen, it was happening behind closed doors and the cameras weren't rolling. At least, not the official ones. For years, Mona Scott-Young was praised as the genius who turned raw drama into ratings gold. She built an empire by bottling heartbreak, betrayal, and family feuds, then selling it back to the public as entertainment. But according to people in the know, the queen of reality TV had been plotting her exit for months. The signs were everywhere, but no one was paying attention. The cast thought they were gearing up for another season of fake reconciliations and staged fights. Fans thought they'd get their usual dose of love triangles, wig pulling, and glass smashing. But instead, they got silent. No behind-the-scenes selfies, no set leaks, no cast drama spilling into Instagram lives. Just an eerie quiet, the kind that usually comes before a storm. And then came the whispers. Mona had been spotted sneaking out of a private studio in Atlanta, not with her usual Love and Hip Hop crew, but with an entirely new production team. These weren't the people who built the show. No, these were outsiders, young, hungry, and allegedly already filming something brand new. At first, fans brushed it off as Mona working on a side project. After all, she's been juggling different ventures for years. But then, the whispers turned into screams. This wasn't just a new show, it was a replacement. Love and Hip Hop wasn't coming back, and the OG cast hadn't even been told. That's when the cracks began to show. Rashida, one of the few cast members who still tried to keep things professional, started asking around about filming dates. Instead of clear answers, she got vague excuses. The schedule's being finalized, we'll circle back. Classic brush-offs. Kirk, never one to stay quiet, pressed harder. According to an assistant producer, he was told off the record that the show they thought they were filming didn't exist anymore. Mona was already halfway through production on a totally different project. And get this, allegedly, not one single original cast member had been invited. If you think that sounds shady, you're not alone. Yandi and Mendices had flown in from New York ready to shoot, only to be told the studio was under renovation. Renovation? Really? It filmed. They're literally weeks before. Calls went unanswered, texts were left unread, and suddenly it felt like the cast had been ghosted by their own show. Imagine building your brand on a franchise for over a decade, only to find out you've been replaced like an old battery. That's exactly what was happening. And then came the fateful meeting in Atlanta. A last-minute invite went out to a few key players: Rashida, Kirk, Yandi, and Mendices. The atmosphere was tense. Mona walked in flanked by her new team, all dressed in black like they were attending a funeral. Well, maybe they were. She launched into a speech about the future of reality television, claiming audiences were tired of manufactured drama and wanted something more authentic. Rashida wasn't having it. She fired back. So what are we? Fake now. The room froze. The silence after Rashida's outburst was thick enough to choke on. Mona, who usually prided herself on controlling every narrative, looked rattled but only for a second. Then she smirked. The kind of smirk that says, "I run this show and don't you forget it." Before she could respond, Kirk jumped in, slamming his fist on the table so hard the water glasses shook. "You made millions off our pain. You built an empire out of our marriages, our scandals, our heartbreak, and now you're tossing us aside like garbage." His voice cracked, not with weakness, but rage. Mona didn't flinch. Instead, she delivered the bombshell they'd all feared. Love and Hip Hop was on permanent hiatus, not a break, not a rebrand. Dead, gone, finished. Her new project, a glossy series called Real Roots Are Revolutionary. Concept focusing on young entrepreneurs chasing legacies instead of drama. At least, that's how she sold it. But to the people in that room, it was nothing more than a betrayal dressed up in buzzwords. Yandy's eyes welled up. "So we gave you our lives, our families, our struggles. For what? For you to erase us," she whispered. Mendices, usually the calm one, leaned forward and muttered, "This is disrespectful." That was putting it lightly. Then things spiraled. One of Mona's shiny new producers stepped forward, trying to calm Kirk down. "You need to relax," the man said with a fake smile. "Big mistake." Mendices shot out of his chair, getting in. The guy's face. Words flew. Security, who had been waiting outside, rushed in. Rashida grabbed Kirk's arm. Yandy was tugging on Mendices' sleeve. Chaos, absolute chaos. What was supposed to be a professional transition meeting looked more like a scene cut from an episode that would never air. And just like that, it was over. Mona left with her new team, heads high, like she hadn't just declared war on the very people who built her empire. The cast members left too, but not in silence. The next morning, social media lit up like wildfire. Yandy posted a black screen with the words, "Royalty has an expiration date." Rashida tweeted, "Funny how success makes people forget who helped build it." Fans didn't need context. Something huge had gone down and the speculation machine kicked into overdrive. Within hours, hashtags started trending. "Justice for Rashida. Ring Bakindi. We want their Lely Chach." The internet was in meltdown mode. Blogs ran with every rumor they could find. Was Mona replacing the cast? Was the show really dead? And why did no one tell the people who had given their blood, sweat, and tears to make it work? Then came the leaks. A voice note surfaced, allegedly Mona in a heated argument with a network exec, saying, "I don't owe them anything. I made them stars. They should be thanking me." That one audio clip was gasoline on a fire. Fans were furious. Comments on Mona's Instagram turned into a battlefield. She shut off the comment section, but it was too late. The damage was done. And just when it seemed like it couldn't get worse, it did. Just when people thought the situation couldn't sink any deeper, the floodgates burst open. A screenshot from the Real Roots cast group chat leaked onto the blogs, and it was brutal. A supposed new cast member complained, "This isn't what I signed up for. They want us to fake fights, but it's not landing." Another chimed in, "I miss the real Love and Hip Hop energy. This doesn't feel authentic." Within minutes, the posts went viral. Fans who had been cautiously curious about Mona's shiny new project now dragged it to the grave before it even aired. Comments called it bootleg Love and Hip Hop, discount drama, and dollar store reality TV. The irony. The show Mona promised would be less manufactured was already being exposed as fake. Then, the OGs made their move. Scrappy went live on Instagram, joined by Rashida, Kirk, and Mama D herself. The live show racked up over 70,000 viewers. In real time, Scrappy paced his backyard, venting. "They forgot who made this show hot. I gave them real pain, drama, heartbreak, and they're replacing us with people who don't even get real beef." disrespectful. Mama D shouted in. The background. I'm the Queen of the South. Q can't erase me. Fans flooded the comments with fire emojis and demands to boycott. Real roots. The revolt had officially begun, but the drama didn't stop with Instagram Lives. A former Love and Hip Hop producer hiding behind anonymity dropped a tell-all thread online. They claimed the franchise thrived on contract manipulation, fake pay promises, and deliberate emotional exploitation. According to them, Mona had instructed editors to exaggerate conflicts and intentionally mislead cast members just to get explosive reactions on camera. Whether true or not, the internet ate it up. Every blog reposted it. Every fan podcast dissected it. The cast smelled blood in the water. Rashida and Kirk began secretly meeting with documentary filmmakers, planning a raw behind-the-scenes expose. Yandi and Mendices reached out to media outlets offering their own tell-all, series, censored, unedited, pure truth. Former castmates, like Mimi Faust, Joseline Hernandez, and Carly Red were contacted. Some hesitated, others jumped at the chance, but one thing was clear. The tide had turned. Then came the knockout punch. Yandi posted a short clip on her page. No words. It's just her holding up a hard drive labeled Season 6 raw footage. She stared into the camera for a long moment before saying, "They thought they owned our stories. They don't. We got the receipts." The blogs went feral. What was on the drive? Fights that never aired. Proof of abuse. Emotional breakdowns. Theories spread like wildfire. Even Cardi B jumped into the discourse, tweeting, "They've been doing folks dirty. Glad people are speaking up now." That single tweet pushed the scandal from gossip blogs to mainstream headlines. And for Mona, that was the endgame she hadn't planned for. Sponsors pulled out, networks distanced themselves. Real Roots was quietly put on pause before a single episode could drop. Meanwhile, the OG cast flipped the narrative. They launched their own platform, Truth Uncensored Digital. Reality space promising zero edits, zero fakery, just raw stories. The premiere date was announced, and fans marked their calendars like it was the Super Bowl. In the final scene of their pilot, the cast sat in a circle. No scripts, no producers whispering directions, just them, raw and emotional. Yandi looked around at her family, at her co-stars, and said the words that instantly became iconic. They tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. The room fell silent, then broke into laughter, tears, hugs. And just like that, what Mona thought was the end of an era turned into the birth of something new. What do you think really happened behind the scenes? Was this the end of an era, or just the beginning of something bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over. And if you want more explosive truth bombs like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the next revelation.